Today, I want to tell you about one of the most exciting things in bioethics and also one of the most exciting things in college life today, namely the Bioethics Bowl. It's something about which I've been personally involved for about 15 years and had some success. I hope you'll be as interested in it as I am after you hear about it today. To begin, there's another bowl called the Intercollegiate Ethics Bowl that's much more wide-ranging than the Bioethics Bowl. It covers cases in military ethics, agricultural ethics, business ethics, just about everything across the whole college curriculum, which is good. It's designed so everybody has a kind of piece. I had a team first started in about 2008 in that. We watched for 2 years. In 2010, luck favored us and we won the whole thing. But the next year, luck did not favor us. And by this time, the regular Ethics Bowl had expanded from 32 teams to nationally at 10 regions and almost 100 teams. And we didn't even make it out of the region. So I had a team and we wanted to do something. This was in February, March. I heard about this thing called the Bioethics Bowl, which this year was going to be at Duke. Most of the people on my team were pre-med. I thought, okay, let's try it. So we went up to Duke. There was only 8 teams. Some of the teams that were supposed to show up didn't show up. We actually won. We ended up playing against Georgetown. That was a pretty neat experience for us. So what exactly is the Bioethics Bowl? In contrast to the Intercollegiate Ethics Bowl, the Bioethics Bowl always has cases basically about medicine and bioethics like these. The format, though, is very similar to that of the Ethics Bowl. So, namely, a team will present the central moral issues of the case, often 3, and take a certain stance about those moral issues, and then consider some opposing or alternate points of view. That's 10 minutes. Then another team will do a kind of counter-analysis of what the first team said, sometimes pointing out things that were missed or not emphasized enough. And then the first team responds. And then all that is followed by being grilled by 3 judges about your analysis of the case. So it's kind of an analysis and counter-analysis.
As the mother is brain dead with a late fetus, why not keep her body alive to bring a wanted life into the world?
So that first part of the match takes place in about a half an hour. And then the other team presents their analysis of a case. And usually there's 15 cases and they're sort of come up randomly. You have to prepare for all the cases in advance and you don't really know which one you're going to analyze. And meanwhile, on a scale of 60 points, each segment the judges are scoring you. At the end, they reveal the points. The team that wins the most judges and the most points wins the match. At the national meeting, which is all day, there's generally 4 matches. Basically need to usually win all 4 matches to advance to the final round. The way I prepared for this case, and I guess I may be telling some secrets. First of all, the cases come out in January, and after a host has been announced. So this year was Cindy McCarthy at the University of Pittsburgh, magnanimously agreed to host. She did a great job, and the cases came out in January. She had been working on creating these cases the previous fall semester. I, in fact, wrote several of the cases, as I often do. And this particular year, there were so many teams that wanted to get into the competition that there had to be a lottery because she can only handle 20 teams for rooms and judges. And luckily, UAB got in. There were some other teams that got in, but eventually they couldn't afford the fee or travel to Pittsburgh. So some other teams, there was some jiggling. I started practicing, as I often do, in a class in bioethics. I have a class that meets Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And on Fridays, we always practice the cases of the Bioethics Bowl. And this semester, I fortunately had 32 students, so I could put them in 4 teams of 8. And before the cases were even announced in mid-January, I used some cases from the previous year to start getting them used to how the competition went. And I appointed a team captain for each team, somebody who had experience from previous Bioethics Bowl. And generally, each student of the 8 had a role, whether to present a CMI, central moral issues, or an opposing point of view, or to summarize what the opposing team said, or to answer a question. Usually each case has a couple of questions which the judges may ask. That worked pretty well. And then the cases came out, and for about a month in class, we practiced the cases. Sometimes the teams knew which ones were up, but they often didn't know which cases would come up that day. Kind of like the real thing. Then when the 32 people had a taste for what it was like, we had open auditions. And some members of previous teams had to re-audition. Out of about 10 people auditioning, we had money to send 5 people to the bowl. This was about 5 or 6 weeks before the competition. So then I started to meet with them once or twice a week, and we would start practicing. Some people were stronger in some cases than others based on their auditions, and I basically assigned people different cases and different roles. And there was some adjustment of that as we went along, but we practiced pretty well. And we had some previous members of teams and some other philosophy faculty came in as guest judges to kind of give them that experience of being grilled, which worked pretty well. So on the morning of April 10th, I met them about 4:30 a.m. in front of the dorm. We went to the airport for a very early flight to Detroit and then on to Pittsburgh. We had a 3-hour layover in Detroit where they practiced some on their own. And then we arrived at a hotel near the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and the School of Public Health where the competition was held. That night, we took a picture in front of the School of Public Health, and we were kind of awed, at least I was, by the new hospital that Pitt is building. Pretty awesome. And then we tried to get to sleep early. The next morning, everybody came early and got a packet of Bioethics Bowl swag. And for the first time, we saw the schedule for the day, and we saw our team assignments. We kind of breathed a sign of relief because we didn't have to face Stanford, which won the year before, and at Baylor 2 years before, Stanford and UAB tied, and we kind of both knocked each other out of the championship match. So we didn't want to face Stanford. We also didn't want to face Georgetown. Georgetown, Loyola Chicago, and UAB have both won the national championship 3 times, and none of us wanted to face each other unless it was at the very end. We did have to face McAllister, and McAllister is another powerhouse. They always speak very well, and we were kind of dreading that match. We also saw we had to go up against Penn at the end. So there was a check-in, and the teams kind of mingled. I met the team from William & Mary, my alma mater. I was hoping we didn't have to go against them either, and we didn't. They came in right behind us at the end. I also met some of the other teams like Loyola University of New Orleans. And then we had a plenary session where Dr. McCarthy basically told us how the day would run. About 200 people in a big auditorium. Then we were off to our matches. Our first match was against the University of Maryland at Baltimore. Greg Elick's team, he's on one of the people with Jennifer Parks on the Bioethics Bowl Executive Committee. Our second match was against McAllister. They also spoke very well. And then we had a lunch break. Then we went against the University of Northern Ohio. And then finally we went up against Penn.
4 teams have 4 wins and could compete for the national championship.
And luckily, we won all of our matches. So we were hoping we would make the national championship final match. But it was very, very close because not only do you need to win all your matches to get on, you get a point differential. And we were about 3 or 4 points behind Pitt, which was a little bit ahead of us. All the teams in the final, Stanford and Pitt, both had 4 wins, but Stanford and Pitt had more points, and so they debated each other. And it was an exciting match. Everybody came back to watch. Stanford eked out a win over Pitt by 1 point. And they went back and added up, just for the hell of it, all the points of the whole day, and there was only 1 point difference between Stanford and Pitt for all 5 matches, which is amazing. It was obviously they were very good teams, very fine discriminations, and also it's kind of arbitrary in some ways. You can't take it too seriously. Afterwards, we walked around and we went into the amazing Cathedral of Learning, which is a distinctive building, 32 stories high. We met the team from William & Mary and exchanged some pleasantries. The next day, we went for a hike, because I always like to do something, see the city. On the way to the airport, we divided up some of the bioethics swag that we got. We had a good time. It's a great experience. The cases were fine. I like to see students throw a ball around as much as anybody, but I also like to see students throw ideas around. And that's what Ethics Bowl is all about. It's a great experience for me, and I think it's a great experience for students. I hope more people can participate. That's it for today. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, share. I'll see you again next Tuesday.